Peridot cleared her throat. As it seems, I have no other options. I have conceded to reveal some important information to you, Crystal Gems. All the 4 gems stood by the counter, watching Peridot's presentation. Spinel was glad that Steven was able to get Peridot to trust them enough, though the shorter gem still doesn't seem wary about her. When Peridot snaps her fingers, Steven, with a box over his body, stuffed in a crude drawing of the Earth being seen on front. This, Peridot pointed out in the illustration of the fly swatter, is Earth. And at the very center of the Earth is the planet's core. Lies the cluster rotate. Steven then rotated the box to show the presentation of a cluster in the Earth. Peridot continued. This cluster, a massive artifaction fusion, compared to the millions of other gem shards, it has laid a doormat for thousands of years within its planet's crust. When this gem activates, it takes the form of the result, a catastrophic now. She then hits the box with a fly swatter again. For a dramatic effect, Steven escalated music and bobbed up and down, waiting for the gems to wait for the result. Then Steven stuck out a green snake puppet and then made a roar sound. What is that? Peridot asked. It's a cluster, Steven replied. Peridot grumbled. It doesn't look like that, but it is real. It could still activate at any moment. What a cluster, MFS sarcastically commented. Garnet frowned. Abomination must be stopped. No, Spinel whispered, stepping back. That can't be. We've been protecting Earth for thousands of years. Were we all for nothing? Not unless we can do something about it, Peridot proclaimed, wrapping an arm around the horrified gem. We need to build some sort of machine to take us to the center of the Earth. It'll have to... Then Peridot was then swatted at her, of course cutting her off. Hey, I wasn't finished speaking. What we all need is to build some machine to take us to the center of the Earth. Pearl, of course, shot an annoying glare at the green gem when Peridot continued her plan. MFS grinned, but Pearl glared at her as well. It'll need to stand up to around 360 gigapascals of the pressure as the temperature is like around over 9,000 degrees. Well, Spinel shot up, snapping out of her stunned state. What are we waiting for? We gotta get started now. Peridot was startled, but then was calmed. Yes, you are correct. We'll start by dismantling all devices inside this dwelling. She ran into the kitchen and grabbed the microwave. This primitive radiation considered should come in handy. She tore it off the cupboard and threw it onto the floor. Then she went to grab the telephone. A primitive vibration transmitter could possibly serve a function. She then broke it in half. Crawling up to Steven's room, Peridot held up the television. There's a remote chance that something could be useful inside the permanent image cube. Hold it! Spinel's large fist caught the television and she held it up with the Peridot handing, sweating and shaking in a panic. How about we use all that junk we used to keep in the barn that we have? Does that sound good, huh? Peridot began to sweat. Well, yes, and can you mind letting me go? Only if you let go first. All right, Pearl nodded as Peridot inspecting the stuff inside. What we'll have to do here in the barn, which should be quick enough for us to get started. First, I recommend we organize the company's types and assemble a rough blueprint based off what we have available. Does it look good? Steven asked, waving a piece of chalk and sitting on the swivel chair. Spinel stood beside the chair, stared at the illustration on the chalkboard, and thought, maybe we do need to add some more safety precautions, like pillows. Pillows are good. Pearl took out a look, but of course shook her head. Sorry, Steven. It's a lovely drawing, but it won't work like that. Peridot then took this chalk from the board and examined it and satisfied, handing the piece of chalk to Pearl. Good, yes. Very intriguing. Thank you. You can go now. The pale gem exchanged glances to Steven and Spinel. What? Peridot was confused. That will be all? She clapped her hands in command, but Pearl remained in the same spot, looking weird. Here, Spinel realized that the green gem was doing the expression had changed into slight anger. What gives you the right to tell Pearl what to do? Yeah, Steven joined in. She's gonna help us build the drill, right? Peridot clorted a laugh. No, you both are confused. A Pearl can't help build anything like this. Spinel's deep frown deepened. Oh yeah? Care to explain? Because Pearl isn't made for this, Peridot told her, bewildered. They are standing in the ground and looking nice, holding your stuff like you are, right? That's enough, Pearl snapped. If we're gonna go together, you're gonna have to listen to me. Listen to you? Peridot began to laugh. Did you teach her how to talk like this? Pearl and Spinel continued to glow lower at the shorter gem. Stephen tilted his head. What are you talking about? Peridot then stared at him. She's like a pearl. She's made to be a closer servant, bent like thousands of other pearls, being flaunted and around the back of the homeworld. This isn't the homeworld, Spinel lashed out, her pigtails brusting even more. Peridot then cowered a little bit. But it's true, isn't it? Spinel then bit her lip, and of course she brushed it off and stood at the other gem. This is about, but our pearl here is different than every other pearl back in homeworld. She's sweet. She's the smartest to do so. So how about you use your teeny little head of yours and show some respect? Peridot, Pearl, and Stephen all looked at each other with shock. Gee, thanks, Pearl whispered. Spinel gave her a wink, and Peridot's head had turned to the left, right in the Bonifant. Stars, this is the place is really messed up, Peridot foamed. I refuse to listen to Pearl or Spinel, whatever it is. Oh, so what? Pearl shouted. Are we gonna build this thing or not? Don't be silly, Peridot shot back. What good is a pearl without an owner? But before the three gems could continue their argument, Stephen stood in the middle and raised his hands up. Whoa, hang on. Let's not fight. How about we all agree, Pearl and Peridot, get together on building this stuff and try to listen to each other? No, the three gems screamed angrily. I am good at building as you are. Better even. Yeah? Name one thing you can engineer better. Go on. Robots. Pearl and Peridot and Spinel all stared at the boy. You should build robots, Stephen suggested with the eyes. Giant robots. I see a race. Giant robo race. With great prizes, giant robo prizes. What do you mean, like a competition? Pearl asked. Yeah, Stephen replied. To see who's better at this stuff. Spinel nodded. That doesn't sound like a bad idea at all, love. I like it. What are these robots you speak of? Peridot inquired. They're like these funky marble guys that you were sending, said Stephen explained. Only bigger than you can ride them. I'll let Pearl handle this, Spinel humphed. She has the honors. Pearl then blushed a bit. Thank you, Spinel, and glared at the green gem. You're going down, Peridot. Peridot grinned. Well, we'll see about that. They ran into the barn and began constructing their own robots. Spinel and Stephen watched for a bit in awe as Garnet and Amethyst came over. Yo, Stephen, Spinel, said Amethyst. How are these Wonder Weird nerds doing? Whoa, what's going on? What are they building in the drill? Spinel then shook her head. No, they're just using robots since they came up with the competition. Thanks to Stevie, of course. Suddenly they covered their eyes when the loud construction noises came from inside. They were unable to hear each other until Pearl rolled out of the barn with her robot, striking the pose and showing off its mobility. Giant robot! She squealed Stephen as Spinel stared up this like stars in the eyes, and even slightly blushing. Ha, pathetic, now behold my vision of ultimate power, Peridot declared, her robot marching out, his claws snapping until Peridot saw how the height difference between her robot and Pearl's. Hey! Pearl smirked. Mine's taller, I win. Ladies and gentle gems, welcome to the first annual Robo-Olympics, Stephen shouted, announcing on Spinel's shoulders. Garnet clapped. Woo! Amethyst ate some popcorn. Popcorn! The competition had started innocently enough, balancing, crushing, jumping, speed, and oddly ballet, art, rock, paper, scissors, jumping attacks, tug-of-war, and protractile strength. Spinel was able to write the talents for each scores, appearing happy when Pearl succeeded and in concern when Pearl failed. Lastly, the two trucks were laid on Pearl and Peridot. The sky was now evening. Stephen smiled. All right, guys, it's time for the final event. You got this, P, yelled Amethyst. You get it, girl, Garnet joined in. You go, Pearl, Spinel cheered. Show her that you're the best Pearl in the universe. Garnet, Amethyst, and even Stephen all stared at the pink gem with surprise, and mostly supportive how Pearl was today, seeing her explanations. Since Spinel nervously scratched the back of her neck, blushing dark pink. Color's Pearl brushed from the encouraging words, but Peridot frowned. Ready, set, go! Both robots chucked at the trucks as far out towards the hills, both of them disappearing over the horizon. Spinel had her eyes stretched out of her socket to see which one went further, but she sighed in disappointment with her tech right. I think they both get a point. After that, they both gathered around the chalkboard, deciding who the winner is. Stephen turned and looked around. Looks like our final score is a tie. Well, yep, that settles it. You both get to lead the project together. But Peridot wasn't having any of it. No, this isn't over. We demand have a tiebreaker. Aw, just give it a rest, Pearl groaned. That's it. We're both tied. We're the same. Move on. She started to pile it away, but Peridot's robot grabbed her other robot's arm. No, Peridot shouted angrily. You're a Pearl. You're beneath me, and I'll always be better than you that we have today. Nothing will ever change that. Pearl closed her eyes, and then she spoke. Well, what do you have seen in a Pearl do this? Her robot kicked Pearl backwards. Garnet, Amethyst, and Spinel and Steven all correctly gasps. Of course, Peridot made her robot stand up. Do you want to fight? Good. We should have this from the beginning. She charged into Pearl, knocking the robot's hand, and they were wrestling. Fight, 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 fight! Cheered Amethyst. Peridot cackled as her robot lifted Pearl's bot and tossed her into the other gems. They quickly jumped away when Pearl's robot crashed and landed on the ground. Steven lifted his head. Pearl, are you okay? Spinel asked worriedly. Pearl's bot stood up. It's alright, guys. I've got this. Be careful. Kick her in the butt. Peridot's bot landed behind her, ready to attack, but Pearl swerved around, blocking it as the bot's locked claws again. This is pointless, yelled Peridot, her face turned to the pale gems. There's no way you're going to beat me. You're an accessory. Somebody's got a shiny toy. Where do you get off to racing like that with your own gem? One of Pearl's bots was then torn off. You're just a Pearl. For a moment, Pearl grimaced, but of course was determined. That's right, I am a Pearl, she proclaimed before punching Peridot right in the cheek, prompting to the others to gasp and light a smile up Spinel's face. Amethyst was cheering. That may be saying is true, said Pearl, her robot leaping into the air, but it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna win. Her bot was still delivered a very harsh kick, but Pearl grabbed it and Peridot snickered. Pearl gasped. Uh-oh. Peridot began to slam Pearl's bot onto the ground repeatedly until Spinel dove under Pearl's bot and caught it before it hit the ground. Pearl had laid a limp on her seat, lifting her head up weakly. Spinel? It's all right, Spinel mumbled before glaring at Peridot. Enough is enough, Peridot. Peridot gritted her teeth. No way, I'm not letting Pearl of all gems beat me. You've already won, Peridot, she said. But please, no more of this nonsense. Peridot blinked. I won? Her robot let go of the other one and jumped out of her own. I won! Victory is mine! Now I'm in charge! Praise me! Praise me! But instead she saw Spinel and helped Pearl to her feet. You alright? I'm fine, Pearl laughed a bit, but thank you. Amethyst ran over and squeezed the gems in a hug. Yeah, aw, but that was so awesome. You were hardcore. She then gave Pearl's shoulder a friendly punch. Pearl rubbed her arm. Oh, really? Garnet then patted her head. Oh, yeah. Yeah, barked Peridot. Why are you listening to me? I'm one. I'm the natural leader here. She's just a common Pearl. Frowning, Spinel hoisted Pearl into the air in her bridal style. You're wrong. Pearl's not like any other Pearl. That's what makes her the best. Pearl then giggled and waved her hand back at her. Oh, you stop it, you. Yeah, Steven nodded. And if she was like any other Pearl, she wouldn't have been trained to fight. She wouldn't even learn how to build things. But she did. She works so hard every day to become greater than she already is. That's not common. That's amazing. With the crystal gems all smiling and Peridot being stunned, they remained silent for a moment before Garnet spoke. Come on, let's clean up this mess. Amethyst laughed. Pearl, you should have some wrestling with me. I don't know, replied Pearl uncertainly. You could do anything if you put your mind to it, Spinel said. Steven following her. Peridot just stood there shocked. But I won! What about the rules? Welcome to Earth, Garnet started and walked away. Ridiculous, Peridot glanced at her swollen cheek. Later that evening, everyone else was gathering up in the debris of the robots. However, both Spinel and Steven turned to see Peridot approaching the pale gem, holding a power drill in the wrong way. Peridot cleared her throat. I'll have to admit this. It's remarkable that Pearl, such as yourself, could become such an knowledgeable technician. Maybe why don't we get started? Pearl gently took the power drill and handed it back to her. You're holding it upside down. The green gem blushed. Yes, of course. You know, those round peelings on your machine could be useful for something. They're called wheels, Pearl corrected. Now smiling, Spinel stretched her cheek. Peridot's learning. Yeah, Steven nodded. Well, we're on our way to stopping the cluster.